All right. It is week 24 of the
real estate
real estate year.
Yeah.
The real estate year. Kind of some interesting things to talk about today.
Yeah.
We'll start off with economic calendar real quick. Jobless claims going up to 225 as the forecast previews is 229. That number is creeping up every week.
Yeah. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal I forgot to send to you over the weekend that talked about that and how they think some of the data is actually
worse.
Skewed. It's worse.
Much worse.
Much
Probably. Worse. U.S. unemployment hit 4%.
Mm-hmm.
Estimate was 3.9. So optically, 4% were up. And so that's all that's out this week. I want to really dial into learning all these things. Maybe that's a good intern project. He has to write a report on all these. He'd probably enjoy that. He's sick of inputting comps in this.
Oh yeah. He hates us.
Hey, that's what a internship's all about.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have a difference in the U.S. debt this week.
Oh, please be lower.
Wrong.
No.
It's going to be huge.
No.
20 million instead of 19.
It's not
20 billion. I'm sorry. 20 billion.
Yeah.
And federal debt to GDP ratio went up another to 122.29. So up another 1/10%. Is that a 10th? No, that's like a 1/1.
1 basis points, Jeremy.
1 basis point. Yeah, that makes me sound smart.
Yeah,
Thanks, Will.
Yeah.
The indices, Dow pretty much unchanged, gained 33 points last week to close out at 38,719. The S&P gained 66 to close out at 5343, and the NASDAQ closed out at 17,094 to gain 359 points. West Texas crude was down $1.46 to close out at 75.53. And the 5-year Treasury broke below 4.5, which is good. 4.466, and the 10-year was at 4.439. So let's look at real estate stocks. All right. Last week, the leader was REIT Residential, gaining 1.15%, and then REIT Industrial fell right behind him at 1.1%. So neck and neck. Everything else was a loser. Biggest loser was REIT Hotel and Motel. And healthcare is still holding the 1-month performance and the 3-month performance. So, but not any big movement in the stocks this week, the publicly traded real estate stocks. All right. Term of the week.
Give it.
Also brought, we're just working off this strip mall guy list.
It was a good list.
Yeah. Off market.
Oh, I have.
Do you know what off market means, Will? When someone shows you an off market deal?
I just tell me the definition because I'm a little self-conscious about this.
It means everyone's passed on it already.
I feel like that happens to me in Houston.
Yeah.
Literally, I got an off-market deal. I'm like, okay, you're dumping the garbage truck up to my front lawn and dumping it.
Yeah, I think we haven't embedded ourselves in Houston enough yet to warrant a nice off-market delivery of a building.
No.
We keep getting CoStar.
It's the CoStar All-Star market, man.
Yeah, right now it is. CoStar All-Stars.
But I was talking to a guy down there, and he said, "What you're experiencing in Houston is what happens to me in Dallas." He's like, "I can't get a footing."
Yeah,
I can't get a footing. So
we'll get a footing. We didn't have a footing in San Antonio, and we're entrenched.
It's honestly only been the last 90 days.
Yeah.
But it took years.
Yeah,
2 years of just consistently going down there and
hitting it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
massaging.
Did you see the Alamo Draft House shutters all DFW locations?
I have that on my notes for today. I actually did the insurance on the one in Northwestern Hills way back in the day. Yeah.
Probably turned into a pickleball court.
That location really struggled during COVID. It was local ownership 1031 into it too. And
I remember seeing there was one in Frisco or it was Little Elm. I can't remember, but that one, that was an investment deal you could buy a couple years ago.
I can't remember what Travis paid for it, but sad. Good concept.
They put $3.5 million in it to try to save it. The local owners did.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just couldn't.
I don't think movie theaters make it, man.
We talked about that recently. I feel like
nobody's making movies, and they're letting it. The whole COVID thing allowed a movie to go direct to the consumer pretty quick, so that you didn't have to mask up and eat your popcorn through an N95.
Get peanut M&M marks all over your mask. Fingers all red and blue and yellow, and your mask is too. But
I don't know, man. I don't feel like people are making movies anymore. It's all a Netflix series. So
we can't hold our attention span longer.
No. Yeah. Well, pour one out for the Draft House.
Yeah, it's sad.
That is sad. That sucks.
It was a good concept.
It was a good concept.
Yeah. I remember going to the one down in the Cedars. Is that where it's at? I think it was like the OG. There's one like Deep Ellum by the farmer's market.
Okay. That's not the Cedars.
It isn't? Okay.
No. Cedars is hood.
Yes. And
straight hood.
And I remember it was like right out of college. We went there and I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, pour one out.
Pour one out for the Draft House. All right. So Europe and Canada's federal policymaker people cut rates last week. 25 bizips.
Dude, because they don't have another option. What's Trep talking about?
Well, they kind of more brought up that is the Fed going to follow suit, right? Because the Fed has this 2% inflationary target number, and you gotta start easing before you hit that, because you might, well, right, they want to do this soft landing, right? Well, if they don't start it, accelerating a little bit as they land, they might just go straight into the tarmac, into recession.
Are they really being transparent with everybody?
Well,
no, I think the Fed is, but I think all the data is so jacked up. I'm not sure.
Well, we can't even count electoral votes.
No comment.
I mean,
I know.
Do you remember the Scantron? Did you have a Scantron?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Didn't we all take tests on a Scantron?
Yes.
And it was always right.
Generally, yeah. But once in a while, you get an error. Once. But I personally, hundreds of Scantrons.
Yeah.
My entire academic career. Never had an error.
But we can't count votes properly? Are you kidding me?
And there's the likelihood that some people might accidentally, quote unquote, vote twice.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
In Guatemala, when I lived there, they had a presidential election in 2015. And if you go and vote, they iodine your finger and you have to present ID. It's a third world country, which is rampant with corruption. Rampant.
God, what a concept.
And the iodine on your finger, you got a purple finger for a week. I know you voted.
Yeah.
You can't come back in the booth.
Well, that'd be discriminatory, Will. Couldn't have that. Can't have that. Well, so they were talking to this is a Fed cut rates in September. Are we going to get a token 25 basis point cut?
Maybe. I don't have a comment. I don't think so.
Yeah.
The banks are getting, we've been trying to get term sheets. Everybody's at 3-year terms now. No more.
It's interesting. You would think they would want to lock 5-year terms, but they're going to 3, but they're doing it for liquidity reasons.
Yeah. They're worried about losing their shirts.
Yeah.
Shirts.
Yeah.
I had a banker, I forget who it was. They were telling me oh yeah, we've got a great liquidity position. And then they were talking about, I don't know the inner workings of a bank, but I was just like, wait, what? You just kind of contradicted yourself. It doesn't sound like you guys are in a good position, but yet you have a lot of liquidity. What? How's that work? I forget the scenario, but
Please, and for this loan, you'll have to put $1 million in deposits with us.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yes. Maybe we were talking to the same guy.
might have been.
Yeah, I was like, no, hard,
Never happening,
we're
bro.
Good. We're good.
So, anyways, I don't know. This summer feels like last summer right now.
Yeah, it was dead.
It was dead, and
dead.
we're just not.
Poor Dylan out there is just grinding his face off in Excel right now.
Yeah.
Nothing is working. Poor dude.
It is not working. Brokers, it would be nice if you could educate your clients how the math works and be like, sir, we can't sell them a 5.5 cap because debt is at 7 3/4 to 8.
And the thing is one, real estate doesn't always go up.
But wait, Will, I've been in real estate like 5 years and it's gone up every month since then.
Well,
says ye young, currently seasoned, somewhat broker.
I'm in that bucket too in terms of age gap, but or age range, but I just, it's really hard to buy a 5 cap, and we're okay going negative leverage for a little bit. Sure. If we can stabilize to like
10,
a 9 or 10, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't, especially now, because like Dylan and I have been tracking a couple deals in Central Texas, and where we used to thought we could exit low 7 caps, it's 100 bips off.
Yeah.
Easy. And so we had to kind of, last week, hit the pause button. Like, no. Recalibrate it all. 8s. And which is shocking. I think people were probably listening like, oh, what? And I'm like, but the thing is, there's two. I think it's optics. One, people aren't going to get excited.
Yeah.
I think you probably got to release something with an 8 in front of it. You know who does a good job of doing that is Ty Underwood.
Yeah, he
underwrites it, loading it all up, underwrites it very thoroughly, and the way he presents it is very marketable. You'll be like, oh, like he sent us the deal today up in Tulsa. He's like, stabilized, it's like a 12.75. I'm like, oh wow, okay, let me open that and like dig in a little bit.
Yeah.
But if it stabilizes, if you get it all juiced up and it stabilizes to 8.25, and it's not good, better Class B stuff, it's just not going to work right now.
Yeah.
Unless if you think you can exit all your stuff at 6.5, which we don't underwrite that way.
Yeah, I don't think it's realistic.
Yeah, it's hard.
Not unless you just have great credit.
Yeah,
but
in a really great site.
Yeah, great site, great credit.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to touch on the nuclear war going on real estate Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I wouldn't say it's a war. I think shots are being fired. I don't think the people receiving the shots are responding yet, but man.
Or merited in one case, in my opinion. But I don't really have an idea. Well,
I don't have any information to confirm or deny the claims that are being made.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting back, eating my popcorn, watching.
You Switzerland in this thing?
Yeah.
Sitting in the middle of all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I'll have some coffee.
Yeah.
But there is 2 anonymous accounts.
Yeah.
And they are just lighting up some of the top syndicator GP guys on there.
I'll say this. Twitter up until last week was starting to get a little stale. Dylan and I were talking about in the car one day coming back from a tour. Like, it's kind of gotten a little like self-promoting and like, oh, this, that, and the other thing. Like, no one was really kind of getting into deals. And then a guy by the name of Horny Adolf Hitler came around and totally blew up the place.
And his partner in crime, the LP Whisperer.
It's just straight raunch.
It's bad, man.
It's tough. For those of you who are not on Twitter, they're basically they're targeting general partners, syndicators, whatever you want to call them, sponsors.
People like us, essentially.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the people that have raised a lot of money on Twitter.
That seems to be the case. And they're basically saying that their deals are not as good as they underwrote, and they're probably going to have a lot of their equity get wiped out.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people they've fundraised for are just either individuals, higher net worth people or family offices. We're not talking about institutions. So it's a material. When the equity is wiped out, it's the very material impact to the individuals or smaller groups.
So I guess what's interesting is none of these guys that they're talking about, and I'm not going to name their names because that's if you want to go dig into this, get all over it.
Plus, we don't need that bullseye on us.
No, but I guess they all use just high net worth capital, right?
Yeah, and I don't really know what does that encompass. Like what is that?
Rich guys at the country club?
Yes. Yeah, but like what bucket of that? Like what's in the bucket of high net worth? Is that like individual, small family? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's probably some mix in that, but I don't know. In a way, I kind of like the JVs that we have because
they're real.
Well, they're doing all the back work on it as well.
Yeah.
Like, if we're wrong, well, so are some really other rich people that are smart and have like people on staff that back test us on everything. So,
oh yeah, the two groups. I mean, the one guy, he was at the Big Four for how many years doing like risk assessment?
Yeah,
and then the group on the East Coast. They literally have a legion of dudes.
Yeah,
how many people are on the asset management call with you?
Like 5.
Yeah.
So
what's the update this week? There is no update this week. Okay.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of minions on the call.
But they're all sharp guys.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So you have a bunch. So to my point, like if we screwed up and lost investors' equity on a deal, one, we missed, which I feel we're pretty conservative and we don't, we're never completely on target, but we're in the circle,
I'm generally, for what we've done, for what we've capitalized, I think it's like there's two thoughts. Did you hit your return metrics? And then I think kind of what the LP Whisperer and the other guy, the name's so ridiculous, but they're talking about like loss of capital.
Yeah. Did you lose your investors' capital?
And like I don't feel like
I don't see that happening on any asset we bought.
We're pretty picky. It could.
It totally could.
It totally could. But
our basis is so baked into those things that like
we're very sensitive to basis.
Yeah.
We saw a really badass building in San Antonio last week that like all of us are like drooling about.
With a tenant in tow.
Yeah.
We have a tenant in tow. We have a publicly traded tenant in tow on the deal. And I was like, I don't care. We can't overpay for that thing to do the deal.
Yeah. And it sucks.
It sucks because they're ready to sign a lease with us and we're ready to buy it. But
I can't pay for it today. What I'm modeling what my exits are on other similar like kind of quality assets.
Right. Yeah.
It can't happen like that.
So I don't know. It's very interesting going on the retweet world right now.
Yeah. Carnage on it. It's actually kind of sad.
It's pretty bad. So I don't know when they're going to reveal their source or whatever. I don't know how that's going to play out. But man, they are firing shots.
And it looks like shots from Excel models. And
it seems like they are either receiving information from LPs within the deal and they're getting the updates and whatnot. So
that's probably the most likely source.
Probably.
Yeah. Somebody's reaching out to them saying, feeding them info.
Yeah.
Yeah. But would you agree that there should be more transparency?
I have no problem with transparency.
Because I'll tell you this. After that whole thing went down and just watching stuff on Twitter and like kind of just admire and like just watching it all, my Instagram targeted ads for this whole weekend were all syndication. I sent you the one.
Oh, they're
dude, literally every ad I got was that. It was like land syndication, 20 IR, like all like, and I was just like, hold up. Everything I got this weekend it wasn't like, oh, hey, buy your little 10-acre plot in East Texas for $59,000. If you put a Barnado on it, it's $139.
Yeah, a Barnado.
Yeah, a Barnado, whatever it's called. Or Barndominium. That's what it is. No, it was all syndication advertisements and not for like CrowdStreet or any of the big groups. It was all just direct sponsored to consumer. And that was weird. I've never had that happen to me before. It was, I don't know if it was just coincidental. The algo is like seeing me but.
Social media is a very interesting tool.
Yeah.
We use it, I think, for brand recognition.
Yeah.
We've never asked for any money on it.
No, not directly.
No. If someone reaches out to us from our marketing on social media, then I feel like that's how it works. I would almost go to the step of like, if you're going to syndicate past a certain number, like you almost have to like, I don't know, be audited. I don't know.
Yeah.
The partnership pays for it and you get audited. I don't know. You know, I mean, it's at some level, I mean, I think we would totally qualify for that. I mean, if we're, you know, we're doing a fund, we have an auditor on the fund.
Yeah.
You know,
third party, big group.
Yeah.
Paying a lot of money. Sucks, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's the right thing to do.
I don't know. I think when I see Instagram ads and Facebook ads for people, I'll tell you this too. What's funny is if you look at any of these influencers on Facebook or Instagram, go look at their Twitter profile. It's absolute shit.
What do you mean by that?
Well, okay. So I'm sorry. Let me be a little clearer. Real estate people. So the people on Twitter that are real estate people, they are not running Instagram and Facebook ads to get you to syndicate into their deal.
Correct. I agree with that. I have not seen that.
And the people that are on Facebook and Instagram running ads for you to get into their deal are not on Twitter.
True.
Or if they're on Twitter, they have like, I know a guy who, I don't know that he's like a real estate guy. He thinks he's like everything, I guess.
Yeah.
But you go look at his Twitter profile, he has 10,000 followers. When he makes a post, no one comments.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, it's completely fabricated.
Yeah.
He has a bunch of, you know, Asian women that want to marry him as his friends. As his
You know, it's funny. I was actually going through my followers. I have like 300 followers. Easily could have knocked 10 to 20% of them off. They're all bots.
They're all bots. So what I'm saying is these influencer guys will go build a profile. And this same person I know has 300,000 followers on Instagram. And when he makes a comment, like 4 people comment. When you look at someone that really has 300,000 followers and they make a comment, it's in the hundreds to 200s. At a minimum 50, depending on how much engagement that post got.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is you go look at these people. I think, what is it? A charlatan? Is that the name of it? I think the charlatans live in Facebook and Instagram when they're trying to like promote to you in those things.
Yeah.
And they can't survive on Twitter because Twitter actually has people with real thoughts.
Yeah.
It's not just pictures of, you know, planes and cars and bullshit like that, you know.
I'm actually I would be turned off if I was an LP or somebody who had somewhere between $250 to $1 million to allocate to syndicators.
Yeah. And
if a dude's on there flexing, I would be a little skeptical.
You'd be very skeptical. There was a guy, it's called Paradigm Private Equity. And like, I look at this guy and he's always pumping his Instagram up, but it's him like working out all the time. It's either him working out or him driving his cigarette boat on Lake Havasu in Arizona. I literally commented one time, I was like, you talk about private equity all the time, but it's just you lifting weights. And he responded, he goes, oh, this is my personal page. I'm like, I don't care. All you're doing is pumping up private equity, and it's just you like in the gym broing it up, you know, all fucking on TRT. I don't know. He could be a good, you know, he could be a good allocator.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm just telling you, what I see on Instagram is you lifting weights.
Yeah.
So like for me as an LP, I'm going, does this guy just lift weights all day?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. Because to look good, you have to lift weights all day. I mean,
that's the truth. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. Like everybody that looks great, they're all on steroids. And, and they work out 4 hours a day.
Yes. Jeremy and I have worked out at some of these gyms. We can tell you where they're at.
Yeah. Gym bros.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's interesting.
Well, we're getting off topic here, but
no, we're on topic.
Yeah, no, we are. But I think the interesting thing is that some people are, you know, when you deal with, you're dealing with the public when you syndicate. Yeah. Don't act like you're not. We don't. We have a very long process for you to get into our world, but
our world in terms of Matador.
Yes, and honest, and so
you have to have a pretty good relationship with us.
Yeah.
We have to know you personally.
Yeah,
Jared, you have to watch. Bella sends you this whole big old package to go through all of it.
You got to read about 100 pages in documents and returns and.
Yeah,
here's a report on every single asset and how it's all performed. You got to watch two 15 to 20 minute videos to understand. And once you've done that, then we can have a conversation. And then at that point, you might still, we have potential LPs come to our investment committee meeting to be like, you need to understand how we think about these things before we present them to you.
I have a family member in one of our deals, and he was like, dude, this is intense. Like, I was like, well, but you got to know what the hell you're actually getting into.
Yeah. And
it's not just this is not a casino. It's not the stock market.
No.
You can't get it.
Yeah.
We got to work the business plan. There's risk here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we do a good job.
Yeah. We try to communicate a lot, but I think the transparency, transparency will breed trust, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's what, I told you today. I'm meeting with Mungie I'm like, hey man, we need to do a better job of asset reporting. Like I need some help with it. I need a more polished person to help me do it. Yeah. And so I mean we're adding that,
I'll tell you, we do a good job of like knowing, hey, there may be a deficiency here, and let me go get a supplement to kind of help do that, whether that's internally or externally.
Yeah.
And like I think for a while you had tax questions and you just interviewed a bunch of people. Like I feel like I have a blind spot. Maybe I do, maybe I don't.
Yeah.
You talk to a bunch of groups and then you're like, oh, it's probably appropriate for me to make a switch.
Yeah.
Or the thing like Mungie, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, like we could beef that up.
Yeah. Well, I looked at, I'm actually in an apartment deal and they sent me a report on the apartment and I thought it was really well put together. And I was like, oh man, we gotta, this is good. I want to do this on all of our assets.
Yeah.
And it's like I know it all, but like I don't know it all, you know what I mean? But it's a whole back end of number crunching that has to be done all day long.
I think you know what you want. It's just creating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and our LP relationships have kind of pushed us, the bigger ones with the reporting and getting it tighter. And, it's just, but, more transparency is always good.
Yep. So, all right. Well, there's our rant. If you want to go see the blood in the streets,
go
check out RETWIT.
Yeah.
The LP whisperers out there just slicing and dicing.
The other guys too. It's a little bit more off the cuff, but
he's going after everybody. He's going after stock traders and all these different guys.
What's that lady, Cody Sanchez or whatever?
He went after Cody Sanchez hard. But you know what he did? He caught her lying.
Yeah, I mean,
she said she worked at Goldman for 6 years, and she was at Goldman when the financial crisis happened. He's like, "No, you weren't. You were there in 2010. It was already over."
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize this. You can see where you hung your
brokerage license.
Yeah, your licensing at which brokerage you're at.
Yeah,
and it's like to the day.
And she's a big account.
Yeah,
she's a very big account.
Yeah, I get ads for her all the time on Twitter.
I like her content. I think she's actually pretty good. But
yeah.
But if you lie, you couldn't get exposed about it. So remember that.
Yeah. It's just better to get it out.
Well, just better not to lie.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, just like whatever you got an issue with, like just get it up and out.
Yeah.
It's a really like incredible. Well, you and I have gone through some stuff like this before. It's like, if you just come to us and like talk to us, like what's going on.
Yeah.
People are pretty amenable.
Yeah.
Like they'll work with you.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And but no communication is not good.
No.
Mm-hmm. That's a big no-no.
Well, that's okay. So just to touch on one more thing of that, that's what all these guys are doing. They're not, the guys that are getting accused right now are not communicating, but they're probably meeting with attorneys.
There are some big accounts with some big groups on there, I'm sure.
With some big firepower behind them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, I hate it for them too, because that sucks to be a target.
It's also just like not a good use of anybody's time.
No, it really isn't. But at the same time, if they are screwing with investors' capital and like not being, hey, you know what though? At the same time, those people signed up for it too.
Who?
The investors.
What do you mean? They didn't do their due diligence?
Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't, but they should have.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of like, this could be a whole nother show. It's like, at what point do you become a fee like when your calorie intake, like, you know where I'm getting at?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
We recently, not that we've gotten big, but like we recently, I think internally, we've done multiple meetings company wide. Like, where do we want to go?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what pressure do you as the owner have? Payroll expenses just in general, insurance. Like what are you dealing with? And you staff up and you have to buy things. You have to do deals just to keep it going.
Yeah.
And that's a really weird spot to be in. I don't want to use the word precarious, but it could lead to a precarious situation where it's like you have to do a deal.
It can.
Which is not in my opinion, not a good spot to be in if you're looking to be an LP somewhere.
Right. Well, then it goes back to our JV partners.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's like they're not going to let us just do a deal.
No. I mean, we presented an off market opportunity recently.
We were the fifth in line.
Yeah, probably. And I mean, it was like, whoa, it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're in a really calculated chess match.
Yeah.
And they're analyzing every single move and formula. And
yeah,
I mean, Argus all at the wazoo. So, yeah.
Well, if you want to go see it, go look on Twitter. It's there.
Yeah.
So, well, let's wrap this up.
Restaurants are coming back.
Restaurants are coming back. As
Wall
far
Street Journal front page this morning.
Where did they go?
They didn't go. They're just coming back because the revenues are up. Hold on.
Oh.
This kind of plays into our pref equity side.
Sure.
The unlikely new real estate darling, restaurants, low unemployment, rising wages, and lifestyle millennials. Basically, like I forget what the food services account for 19% of all retail leases last year. That's a big number. Hold on, there was a budget. So the average household spent nearly 53% of its food budget on food away from home last year.
Dude, no one eats at home anymore.
I feel like people who are like me, have multiple children under the age of 7, we eat at home a lot because it becomes very expensive.
Well,
but outside of that,
and mobilizing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's expensive, and then mobilizing your crew.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but outside of that, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm pumped about that. That was good to see.
That is good.
Yeah. And then your next door neighbor in Salina, #1 growing town in the United States.
Well, this is a longer episode today than we normally do.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because if you listen to this on your commute, it's longer than it used to be. Dude,
Yeah.
I was on the toll road with all the traffic coming out of Prosper this morning.
What time did you leave, Jeremy?
I left the Kroger parking lot getting gas in Prosper at 9:20.
Which is late for you.
I didn't get onto the toll road at 380 in Prosper until like 9:46.
And then you rolled in a little bit after 10. It was like 10:05.
Right at 10. Yeah, 10:05.
Somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time. I left my house in Lake Highlands at 7:57, and I got in the parking lot at I think it was like 8:30 something.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's not bad.
It's about 40 minutes. But you take no traffic though. It's 20 minutes right on the nose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think traffic is here to stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's not bad.
Well, if you have a longer commute, I hope you enjoyed this longer episode of Shop Talk.
Yeah, it's like really long today.
Well, we went on a Twitter rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of interesting stuff out there.
Yes.
Well, let's wrap it up. Everybody, go out there and fight the good fight.
If you're in Houston, send me something good, please.
Hey, Will, here's a building. It has a bunch of leases in it. You want to buy it?
Or you can, it's just, that's a whole nother episode. All right, that's it.
All right, see ya.